Greetings and welcome to the latest edition of the Jacksonville Buzz. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Now, joining me in the studio today is TJ Ward, and he's from Project Opioid JAX, and we're going to find all about what's going on there. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
An absolute pleasure, sir. So, first of all, tell me, what is Project Opioid JAX?
So Project Opioid JAX is an initiative that is funded by the Florida Blue Foundation and facilitated through JAX Chamber. And we bring together key leaders across North Florida to confront the overdose crisis. We do that in several different ways, but primarily focusing on education and awareness, as well as advocacy for both those who need treatment as well as those who are providing effective treatment. And then we also coordinate collaborations between organizations that are doing this work in North Florida.
I mean, the likelihood of an overdose of opioids here in Jacksonville, it's high?
It's incredibly high. And I think the misunderstanding by a lot of people is that this can't happen to them, but because of the current narrative, this is something that impacts all of us, and everybody's at risk for one. It is no respecter of persons. So every gender, every age demographic, every race and ethnicity, every socioeconomic category is impacted by this crisis. And so we want to do what we can to help reduce overdose deaths in this region.
I mean, it starts at the source, really, the doctors who prescribe the opioids.
And that was the older narrative, the one that kind of got this whole crisis kick-started back in the 90s. It's since shifted a couple of times, and now the thing that's driving the overdose crisis is illicit drug use, illicit substances being laced with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that is extremely powerful. And so what we're seeing now is a lot of fake pills that are being sold as prescription meds that are laced with fentanyl and are very unforgiving. And so, you know, it used to be back years ago that people could experiment with different drugs. It was never a good idea, but people wouldn't die instantly necessarily. Nowadays, there's a high likelihood of people dying the first time they try an illicit substance because of the impact fentanyl is having.
And so they're susceptible to the overdose.
Yes.
I mean, what else can be done? I mean, you're obviously doing a lot here in Jacksonville, but what can the public do?
So the public can be involved on a more of a, boots on the ground level through local coalitions. We aren't treatment providers, but we are able to, refer people to treatment options, as well as help them if they want to be involved with volunteer efforts, get connected to organizations that do those things. One thing, though, that I would say that everybody can do to make a difference is just understand what this thing really is all about. Yeah. This is a disease. A lot of people view it as a moral failure. It's not, because of how opioids interact with the brain and rewire the brain. Those who are addicted to opioids are kind of enslaved to this vicious cycle. And so I think just being a little bit more gracious, understanding, compassionate goes a long way in really making a difference for people.
Well, we spoke off camera before about having some opioids in your medicine cabinet,
right,
that you're not using, and what you can do to help get rid of them. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Yeah,
absolutely. There's a lot of people probably watching this that maybe have some leftover meds from a surgery. We talked about how you had a hand surgery recently and didn't use all of the medication that was prescribed to you. So there are different kind of efforts that are happening throughout the community. A couple of times a year, the DEA actually does a take back day where there are different locations that people can take those medications to. We're part of organizing that effort here in North Florida. But something that everybody can do, no matter what day it is utilize a deactivation system called DTERA. And DTERA can allow them to dispose of those medications safely, whether they're prescription or even expired over-the-counter meds. And so they're a little pouch. I should have brought one with me, but a little pouch that people can utilize, pour their prescription meds down into it, fill it with water, shake it up, and they can throw it away. It's biodegradable. It's made of sugar cane, and so it's not going to hurt the environment, but it is going to help deactivate that potency of the medication so that people can dispose of it safely. So,
and these are any medications. They don't have to be sort of,
exactly.
hydrocodone or anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
How fantastic. So what would you like the audience to know?
I would like the audience to know that this is a crisis. Whether or not they're aware of it, it impacts every single one of us. And many people who are watching this have probably been affected by it, on a personal level, whether it's themselves that have been through this or are going through this, or somebody they care about greatly who is struggling with this. But even if you're like me, when I came into this work, I didn't really know anyone, who was dealing with this, in my immediate circle. But I soon realized that no matter what, this is impacting all of us, at a community level because of how pervasive it is throughout, really our nation, but even right here in Duval County.
Of course. TJ, I really appreciate you coming in and telling us about this. And I hope if there's anything that we can do here at Buzz to help get the word out, that we can continue to do this. So do come back. Do let me know what's going on.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep.
And don't forget, if you'd like to know any more information about Project Opioid JAX, you can also find it at iwannabuzz.com.